I could not be more excited to dig into today's paper. We're spotlighting a fascinating essay by S.C. Sales titled Born Blind, Sight, Perception and Work of Christ, John 9. If you've ever come across the New Testament of Jesus healing the man born blind, you'll know it's a wild narrative, full of philosophy and, ankly, a ton of intriguing questions, well and not seeing, both literally and spiritually. So what core question is S.C. Sales really going after here? Essay challenges us to think, is this miracle just a neat story about someone regaining sight? Or is there something deeper? For Sales, this event is not just about fixing a pair of eyes, but about, the whole business of perception itself, how we make sense of in front of us physically and spiritually. The ahai. Is sight a biological function, or is it, in some real sense, a gift involves interpretation, and, in the framework of the gospel, something Christ can fully give? Why is that significant? Well, if you're listening to this, you've probably wondered at some point, how do we actually know what we perceive is true? Can seeing with our eyes guarantee understanding? And does spiritual insight work in the same way or in a different, more mysterious way? Whether you're religious or not, are giant questions that everything from philosophy to psychology to daily life let break down the insights. Because honestly, they're not just for theologians. These are ideas anyone can chew on. First, the paper notes that the gospel story operates on two levels. There's the straightforward story, heals a man who's blind since birth. But Sales argues the narrative is really also a signpost pointing to spiritual blindness. How can have functioning eyes yet somehow miss what's important? The Pharisees in the story, super experts and being blind in a totally different sense. It's honestly kind of a plot. Then we get to theity philosophical stuff. Sales brings in the famous question posed by John Locke and William Molyneux about whether someone born blind, upon gaining sight, could identify objects visually. Medical evidence, like cases where after surgery people had sight restored for the first time, shows that actually just having working eyes isn't. The brain needs to learn how to interpret those signals. Patients often struggle at first. They can't tell a cat from a bi-sight, or they can't what a painting even is, so on. It's wild. Perception isn't a switch, just flip. It's and sometimes a struggle. So in gospel story, what Jesus is, well, not just about making the eyes work. The man instantly recognizes people, navigates space, describes what's happened. Sales, look, this is way beyond a standard healing. It's an act of creation or recreation. Christ gives not only vision, but immediate understanding, a new way of seeing and a new way of knowing. On the theological level, the paper that the miracle echoes old promises, kind of a fulfillment theme. God was said to be the wand, quote, open eyes the blind, but never had anyone born blind been healed, or so the story goes. So in this, Jesus isn't just healer, he's fulfilling the of creator and Messiah. That's a big claim. Another powerful takeaway is how the man's journey reflects spiritual development. At first, he calls Jesus a man called Jesus, then a prophet. Later, he professes him as Lord. It's like a spiritual growth chart. Apply that to modern life, and it says something about how our understanding and beliefs deepen step by step, whether that's faith, science, or even relationships. So, wrapping up, the paper invites us as listeners and readers to consider, what kind of sight do we have? Physical, spiritual, both? It's not about on one answer, but about noticing that seeing might mean a lot more than taking in images.